from Callaloo Studios in New York City. You are listening to Let's Take It Offline with your host, Kishshana Harmon.
Hey, Fab Crew. You're listening to Let's Take This Offline, the podcast for everyday leaders. Part inspiration, part sit down, let's have a conversation. Here's where you'll find the real deal about living well and leading well. I'm Kishshana Palmer, your host and resident leadership whiz.
What happened in the meeting after the meeting?
We talk about it all on Let's Take This Offline. Don't forget to subscribe, download, and leave a comment so we can keep the conversation going. Look, I get it. It's tempting to put your head down and get to work, ride the thrill of accomplishment, and get your hustle on, especially when getting things done is what you're known for. Not to mention, you're good at it. But here's the thing. There's also that voice inside of you telling you that if you don't slow down, you're going to hurt yourself. Yeah, I know that voice. And I think it's time we all listen to it. Because now, more than ever, women are tying on their superhero cape at the cost of their mental, physical, and emotional health. Between never-ending Zoom meetings, conference calls, virtual team huddles, and helping others do their job, many of us have hit a wall. And if we haven't hit it yet, we definitely see it coming. Bottom line, prioritizing ourselves and hitting pause isn't just an option, it's a necessity. What if I told you that there's a luxury experience that allows you to make that necessity a reality? One that allows you to reconnect while you disconnect. The Rooted Collaborative is inviting you to join us in sunny Jamaica for the 2022 Rooted Retreat. For 4 glorious days and 3 rejuvenating nights, your soul will be fed by our dynamic speakers, immersive conversations, and global community activities in ways that will ignite, empower, and revitalize you like never before. The stress doesn't deserve your best. You do. So treat yourself to the best at this year's Rooted Retreat presented by the Rooted Collaborative. Head on over to www.therootedretreat.com to book your spot and find us either in Jamaica or online. All right, y'all. So I am so excited to talk to y'all today about something that I have been really amazing at in the past, but in this current season, every time I do this thing, stuff goes completely left. Like completely left, y'all. So how many of us are planners? How many of us are the ones who plan the group trips? We're the ones who jump in when it's time to plan the family reunions. We're the one who knows all the details for the brunches. Some of us are the ones like, look, I know how to show up and pay my money. But some of us are actually the ones who do all the planning. And so one of the things that I realize is that I have always been my family's planner, my family planner, my group chat planner. I'm the one who will jump in and just say like, okay, here's what we got to get done. We're just going to get it done. Like, here are all the details. I found all the things. This is who I have been for a long time. And in my career, I have, been in charge of lots and lots of people, ran really big teams, ran a lot of verticals. And so planning is a critical component when you are dealing in the business of humans, right? When you're dealing with relationships, when people are powering the goals that you're trying to reach. And so planning became not just something that I did in my personal life, but something that I also did in my professional life. And I realized that I do a lot of planning in my business now. Sometimes I feel like I get so caught up in the planning that I don't actually make it to the implementation, which is strange because people actually pay me to help them implement. And so it's always interesting when the thing that you're like gifted at or the thing that you're like talented or skilled in is the thing that you like struggle with on your own. that's a different story for a different day. And so since I've been a manager for most of my career, planning has been a critical component of like success and making sure that listen, y'all, we're staying on task and we're doing the things that we need to do. And I feel like I was always in planning mode. Do you feel like that? I mean, every time I looked up, I was planning something else. There was a darn document open on my desktop. I was walking into a planning meeting. It was time for strategic planning. It's either summertime and I'm planning, or it's almost end of the year and I'm planning. Like there's always departmental goal setting. And for most of my career as a chief development officer, I spent my summers planning for our fall into winter annual appeal cycle, campaign time, staffing, hitting our end of year goals. Planning was always in full effect. And don't let me throw in board meetings and everything else that I had to get done. And so it seemed like just when I was finished planning, y'all, then it was time for evaluations. Anybody else dealing with that? Okay. Just when you think that you're done with one thing, you're done with another thing. So I wrote down some notes today, y'all, because I was like, let me just make sure I dig in for my few minutes with y'all. So it got to be so bad, y'all, that it was keeping me up at night. You're like, Kish, really? Yes. I mean, I am going 100 miles an hour. I am trying to cram all of these like meetings about meetings into my day. I am a solo mom with a growing kid who's now a full-on grown queenager. Y'all, a year out from going to college and university. I cannot even stand it. Different thing. But I have a smile on my face, which makes it even worse. And so I'm like, I'm running myself ragged. I'm planning. I'm staying up late trying to get my actual work done. And I'm doing all of this with a smile on my face. And I remember a couple of years ago, a good friend of mine pulled me to the side and said, you know, you're going to stroke out, right? Like, I see you swirling and whirling around and I need you to pause. And I think that was the first time that I really took into account that I don't pause. So it's so interesting that many of us feel like and have the experience of, I'm just going to get to it on Thursday. I'm just going to get to it on Friday. I mean, y'all, even this morning, I was talking with my mom and I was talking with her about the fact that my daughter wants to go to the beach in the middle of the week. And I have this one pocket open in my work week where I don't have clients and I don't have any meetings scheduled. And I mean, you would think that that's the perfect opportunity. That's why she asked me, because there was like nothing there. There's never nothing there. And in my mind, I saw the nothing there and went, yes, I can finally get some time quiet in my office to just work and get some things that I want to get out my head right. Like I just saw that time as time for me to dig in. And my daughter saw that as time for us to go out and play. And so the pause that I still have to navigate from a conversation I had with my friend years ago is still prevalent in my life right now. And so every time I think about slowing down enough to take a pause, y'all, 1,245 things come into my head about why I can't take a pause just yet. And so this is showing up in so many areas of my life right now. I'll give you a quick example. So if y'all been following me on social media for any amount of time, and if you haven't, just take a quick scroll back on my Instagram, you'll know that I was chronicling my dating life actively every week. My weekly dating pins. And then at the beginning of this year, I decided that I was going to do a dating detox. And so not just taking a break from dating, but actually like winding all the way down and pausing, pulling all the way out. I mean, y'all, I deleted every number in my phone, every hey big head, like all the things, donezo. And I'll talk about that in a different episode. But during that time, I really started to dig in and really learn about myself and really understand what it is I was looking for, what I needed, the voids that I felt in my life. But guess what happened? An unintended consequence of that particular pause, y'all, was that now I'm reluctant to get back in the game. Y'all, sometimes we pause so long that it literally paralyzes us. So what part of your life right now are you feeling paralyzed because you've paused for too long? Is it a career move you were trying to make? You just know you have to get out of this role. You know you got to get out of this work. You know that there's something else that you want to be doing right now. You know you're called to do something else. But because the schedule, the planning, in 2 weeks, I'll just do it. So I was talking about my daughter and wanting to go to the beach and me just wanting to work. And my immediate thought, y'all, after I thought about wanting to work, wasn't like guilt because I want to work. It was like, but we're going on vacation in 2 weeks where there will be a beach for weeks. Y'all, I got to do better. We got to do better. Why? Because sometimes we need to take that pause that's right in front of us rather than pushing that thing out. And some of us have been pausing so long that we are officially on a break. Okay. So again, what part of your life are you not pausing in? What part of your life have you pressed the pause button and you've been pressing it too long? Okay. And what things are you putting off? Like, this is one of the things that really came up for me as I thought about the fact that I plan everything, because I even plan my pauses. Yes. And you can be intentional about planning your pauses, and you should, to me. This is in the world of Kishshana, in the Kishshanaverse. But you also have to be open to when it's time for you to take an unplanned pause. And for those of us who are like super duper planners, I know you're like freaking out right now. You're like, Kishshana, I can't even, I don't even know where. Nope. And so in order for me to do that, I realized that I had there was too much planning in my planning. And what I mean by that is that I made planning for myself. I made the process of figuring out what I want to do for myself, figuring out how I want to run my business, how I want to run my life, how I want to do things. I made it too complicated. And so here are a couple of key things I want y'all to be thinking about as you think about, is it time to pause? Have I pressed the pause button too long so that I'm now on a break? How do I plan for a pause? And then how do I know when it's time to take an unplanned pause? These are 4 big questions. So I'm going to see if I can give you a couple of things that I want you to be thinking about as you think about how to navigate planning versus pausing. So first thing I want you to think about is, what are you grateful for in this moment right now? And y'all, you will hear me talk about gratitude a lot because it's actually one of the things that I struggle with. Oh my goodness. I literally, every day that I write in my journal, I have a section on gratitude. And it is the longest 10 minutes of my life because I take about 10 minutes to write that section, to think about everything I'm grateful for that day. And you would think that things would just spill out of me, but they don't. So I have to really practice working at practicing gratitude, which is wild because there's so many things that I feel so grateful for. And yet I have the biggest brain freeze. But in thinking about time to pause, pausing too long, am I taking a break? Unplanned pause. I want you to actually first sit in gratitude for the things that you have done, have accomplished, and most importantly, who you are. That to me is the first thing that I want y'all to be thinking about as you think about the planning versus the pausing. And then the second thing I want you to do, and I'm analog, y'all, so I'm going to tell y'all to go pick up a piece of paper and pen before. Some of y'all are like, no, Kish, I write everything on my phone. I do too, but I love a good paper and pen exercise. I have paper right now. The second thing I want you to do is to think about planning it out loud. So sometimes I say things out loud that make me gasp. Like, you want to actually do that? Like, you actually want to, what? You want to go where? You want to show? You want to do this? You want to audition for what? You know, like, I say my plans out loud. I'm going to do this on this date at this time. And sometimes I even scare myself with my plans. But speaking your plans out loud allows you to be able to give voice to the things that are like rumbling and bumbling around in your head. And it allows you to be able to tell that imposter who's riding your left and your right shoulder to shut the hell up. Okay? Okay, so I want you to say that thing out loud to the windows and to the walls. Talk about what your plans are. Say them out loud to yourself. Let them roll out your tongue. See what you like. Burst out laughing at, I burst out laughing, y'all, for real, at quite a number of things. One of the things I burst out laughing is the number of times that I was like, I'm going to quit my whole business. Like, I literally been like, that's it, I'm out. At least a couple times a week. I'm out. I'm done because I'm retiring, and then the next day I'm back in my office working on some amazing client work, working on a challenge that I want to solve for a particular client, a coaching client, et cetera, working on a new keynote speech. So y'all, but I do say some things out loud. And sometimes you have to be able to say your plans out loud because it gives you an opportunity to start over in something else. And many of us do not give ourselves the space to start over. And so speaking your plans out loud allows you that space to give yourself that energy to imagine aloud a different possibility. You got to speak life into your plans. And then the third thing I would say is you got to get you a friend, okay? And not the like Debbie Downer type of person who's going to be like, well, the last time you tried it. You really want someone who's not just going to be your hype person, because sometimes our hype people could hype us right into the path of destruction, but who's going to be able to be your co-conspirator and accountability partner, who's going to both lift you up and also say, have you considered this? Have you thought about that? That sounds amazing. What resources do you think you might need for that? Let me kind of be your thought partner on that. You need someone or someone who are going to be able to really help you bring some of those aspects and those pieces to life, and also potentially consider things that you might not have considered. And this is really critical, especially if you are going into a season where you're looking to pivot something in your life, in your career, in your family, in your relationships, or you're looking to pause. And so the big takeaway I want you to have from this particular quick mini episode as it relates to your planning versus your pausing is, in order to be able to know when it's time to pause on your plans, when it's time to get out of that pause and get to work, when you've been in break too long, or when you just got to be impromptu, is to first be able to sit in gratitude for the things that you are doing really well and the things that are really happening that are positive in your life, is to be able to speak those plans out loud, shock even yourself so that you can start to bring things to life, or you can put things to bed, and to get and grab someone who's going to walk alongside you as you're ready to do this next thing, whether the readiness is to pause or the readiness is to press go. And so that's it for this episode, y'all. I just wanted to jump in with things I've been thinking about planning and pausing, and to really think about, as we think about our wellness and we think about well-being and we want to grow where we are watered, we want to be considering, is it time for you to activate on your plans, or is it time for intentional pause? All right, y'all, I'll be back with another thought in this mini series next week. And so I hope you've enjoyed it, and keep it locked for another episode of Let's Take This Offline with our summer series, Grow Where You Are Watered. Like what you heard and want to keep the party going? Well, make sure you like, share, tell a friend, download it, and if you need a little bit more management mastery in your life, head on over to Kish Camp and sign up for my management masterclass for stressed out managers who want to manage their teams better and lead with confidence at www.kishcamp.co.